you doing? All right. So, did you forget to do this when planning your wedding? Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who is Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How's everybody doing? How did you like my new intro? I'm going to try something new first. Instead of introducing myself and like going through this spiel, I'm going to start with a question. It's something I heard on a podcast, and they're like, "Oh, you should always be starting your lives out with like a question or like a bold statement." So I'm going to give it a try. That's what I tried today. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll remember to do it every single week, but I did remember to do it this week. If you guys are watching me live, use a heart. Let me know you're watching me live. If you're watching me on replay, use hashtag replay. And if it's the first time you've ever watched me and you're catching me live, use number 1. Let me know, like, hey, it's the first time I've caught you live. Thank you for hopping on. How is everybody doing today? I was really super proactive and I made my little banners for today. Yes, so that's super exciting. I'm going to try to remember to go through them as I'm doing my life. Who knows? I might not remember to do it, right? I sometimes do. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we actually have 2 new items in the shop this week. We have our chocolate keto cheesecake, and we now have carrot cake gooey butter cake. Yeah, so we usually have traditional gooey. We have German chocolate, but we did roll out the carrot cake. So we're really excited about that. And I know that you guys have been begging for some more keto flavors. So keto cheesecake flavors. And so we do. We have the chocolate. We also rolled out cherry and the original cheesecake. And those are in the shop for you guys this week. I have discovered something really cool. So I was on Facebook, I guess it was yesterday, and I was just like randomly looking through Facebook, and I came across House of Neighborly Services, and they had posted that they are on Amazon Smile. So if you're not sure what Amazon Smile, it is a link that you go to. So like you go to Amazon, it looks just like Amazon. You just type in smile.amazon.com, okay? And you can set up to donate a percentage of your purchase to a local organization that is listed through Amazon Smile, okay? So you just go to smileamazon.com. There we go. Let's read it correctly. And then you just check out like normal, and then it donates back to the profit that, like the non-for-profit organization that you chose. And so I was really, really excited because we actually do that. Anytime I purchase personally, if I'm purchasing for the business, like I always try to go through that website so that we're donating, like we're giving back, right? And so I was really excited that the House of Neighborly Services has announced that they're on there too. So I thought that was really amazing. We're going to go ahead and change the organization that we're donating to currently and flip it to the House of Neighborly Services, because then we are able to support local, and that means a lot to us. And I was like thinking about this, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I should talk to some of my not-for-profit business friends and be like, hey, you guys should sign up. Like I have no idea what the credentialing requirements are so that you can be part of the program, but I thought that was amazing. Like I didn't know that local organizations could sign up. I don't know, Amazon's a big company, so you would assume that only big organizations can be on there. So it was really nice to see something local is on there. And we personally are going to be switching. And I want to suggest that all of you guys make the switch. Find somebody that's local, see if they're on there, and you can start giving back to local. And it doesn't cost you any extra money to go on there. Like you just register, and then Amazon gives back a percentage of whatever you purchase. So it's kind of like using an affiliate link, but for a not-for-profit organization. It's great. You guys, honestly, you really should be using it. So I want to highly, highly suggest that everybody do that. I better get my phone out here because I'm going to actually need it for the next part. Okay. So it was so funny because I was like, I wonder where I stuck that image at. I had to like go find it because I couldn't remember where I put it. All right. So my like opening hook, right, that I'm like trying to hook you in on. I've got to work on my hooks, but my hook was, did you forget to do this for planning your wedding? And I want to tell you a story that happened to me this summer, and I have no idea if Stephanie, you are watching this, and if you are, sorry, I'm telling your secret. So my husband's cousin got married this past summer, and I was part of the wedding, and we were at the rehearsal dinner, and it's all winding down for the day, and it's the bride and the maid of honor and me were like sitting and talking. And her mother-in-law walks up, because she has a mother-in-law now, but obviously she wasn't at that point. But her mother-in-law walks up and was like, hey, do you want me to have them like box up some of this food? And you can take it for the ladies and add on to whatever you have to feed the ladies when they get ready in the morning. And Stephanie was like, oh yeah, please, could you do that? And we had like some salads and rolls and stuff like that. And when her mother-in-law walked away, she's like, I totally forgot to order food for tomorrow. So we had a bunch of people coming to the house. We were all getting ready at our house. We were like getting ready. I don't know. I don't remember what time we started, like 6:30 or 7. Like we were starting to get up, get ready. We had, I think, like 3 or 4 people doing hair and makeup, dresses, pictures. You know how it is on your wedding day, right? And she didn't have like a separate place booked. We were doing it at her house, and she had no food to feed everybody in the morning. And it was like, oh crap, like, what are we gonna do? And we like tried to make a plan, and we were like, the maid of honor was like, all right, I'm gonna grab this, this, and this. And I'm like, do you need me to go and grab this? And like, we made this plan. And it was starting to get late in the evening. We had a long day because we had the rehearsal dinner and the rehearsal for the wedding and all of these things. And it was like, oh man, I cannot believe we forgot that, right? Like, she's like, I cannot believe that I have all these people. And like, it's not just like, oh, I have just the bridesmaids over. Like most of us well, not most of us, but some of us bridesmaids had kids. Like I have 3. So like I bring a bunch, right? And my nieces were with me. So I had 5 kids with me, me alone. And then she had nieces and nephews that were in the wedding. And it was just like, oh no, like, what are we going to do? And we as a company had been talking about this like prior to the wedding. It's so funny that it's not funny that this happened to her, but it's funny that it happened. Things happen for a reason, right? And so we had been talking about like creating like a menu for brides for the day of, right? Because we all forget to eat, and we forget like we need to make sure everybody else has eaten, because you're busy. Obviously, like you're busy, but like time gets away from you. Like the next thing you know, the photographer is like, hey, where are you? Like, I'm here to take pictures. And you're like, everybody's running around, and there's just mass chaos. Like it's total mass chaos. And we were like, we should come up with something to make it very easy for brides to place an order so that they can have pretty much breakfast catered in for them that morning. And when you're doing a wedding and you're trying to get ready and stuff, nobody wants to be bloated. Nobody wants to eat eggs and bacon and toast and pancakes and gravy and all of the good stuff, right? Like you can't have a big breakfast like that full of grease and then try to get in your dress and do your hair and do your makeup. And so we were like, we need to put together like a catering menu so that brides can feed everybody in the morning and not forget about it. And then we were like, does that really happen? Like, do people really forget to do that? So I got married really young. I had a relatively small wedding, relatively small. There were 15 people at my wedding. So I had a small wedding with my husband because we were young. So like, I was like, I don't know. I didn't have to feed anybody. So I didn't think about it. And my sister, she had her wedding in the afternoon. So we had all day. So it wasn't too big of a deal. Like her wedding was relatively later in the day. And I don't remember, it was so crazy that I don't even remember if we ate. We probably didn't even eat, in all honesty. Like it's just go, right? Like you don't think about it. And so we were like, I don't know, do brides really care? Do they actually forget that kind of stuff? And then I go to a wedding this summer and literally the bride looks at me and was like, I totally forgot. I don't know what I'm going to feed everybody. She's like, I don't even know if I have milk at my house, because we had all been like, I was in town with my 5 nieces. My mother-in-law was in town because she's just recently relocated to Florida. So she doesn't have a house up in there anymore. My sister-in-law was up there with us. We had an aunt who was up from Arkansas up staying at the house. Like there was a lot of us there. So she was like, I don't even remember like what we do and don't have now. It was crazy. So we have officially created a menu because we realized, okay, we were right. There are brides that are going to forget these things. And you just have so many things on your checklist when you're a bride. Even if you're not the bride, like as a bridesmaid, like we had this ginormous checklist that we had to remember all of our stuff, right? And I brought all mine with me from Florida, and I had my 3 kids in the wedding too. Luckily for me, my husband came up later and he was in charge of his own stuff. He actually wasn't in the wedding, so it wasn't such a big deal. I know, right? It's my husband's cousin, and I and the girls were in the wedding and my husband was not. We can see who's loved. Yeah, so like I had a big checklist of all these things I had to get up there. Plus I had my nieces, so I wanted to make sure that they had the things that they needed for the wedding as well. So everybody's got all these checklists. Like nobody thinks like, what are we going to eat the morning of, right? Like it's just not something you think of. So we are here to let you know that we do have a very simple menu for you brides. If you're like, oh, great, you're right, I forgot to feed people. I really need something. And the other thing that we now offer is we do have the option so you can have a carafe of coffee when you order your breakfast to go. So if you're going to order catering breakfast and you're like, oh, I can also use some coffee, we actually have that option now. It's not currently on the menu. I'm going to have to go back, do adjustments to the menu and add it on, but we do have carafes of coffee. So we are offering assorted pastry boxes. And so that's where we would go around and we would get you all of our different options so that you could have a variety so that you can cover whatever everybody wants, right? So we have a variety pastry box that you can get for breakfast. We do offer a cheesecake box. So if you're like, oh, I really want something that is sweet, we are we're having lunch, but we want a little bit of dessert with that. We do have an assorted cheesecake box. And then we do fruit and muffins. So if you're like, no, we just really need something small, it's for breakfast, we're going to have other things going on later on in the afternoon, we do have fruit and muffins available. So I just want everybody to know, if you have not put that on your list yet and you're going to be getting married soon, add it to your list because you'll be surprised how important that is. I actually haven't been in a whole lot of weddings. Like I said, I got married, but I haven't always been in a lot of weddings. So when we were talking about it, I was like, I don't know, do brides need it? Do brides not? But I'm going to tell you, you do, because you will forget it. I actually have mentioned this idea to a couple other people, and they're like, you're right. I didn't do that. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's not on my list, I have to add it. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I had this conversation with you. Definitely add that on your list. Like, you got to figure out what you're going to do to feed people. So anyways, I just want to let everybody know we'll be sharing out the menu with everybody. What I found out is I should not be dropping links I discovered in my descriptions for my lives. Like Facebook shadow bans you for doing that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to stop doing that. And I'm going to try to use more banners when I'm doing my live so that Facebook isn't slapping me on my hand going, stop doing that. So we'll do a separate post and I'll share out the menu. We'll give you the links to the menu so that everybody can get that. If it's not on your list, definitely put it on your list. If you know somebody who's getting married, I don't care if you give them our information or not, just let them know, hey, don't forget to feed people. It doesn't matter if they order from us or not. I don't want any bride running around the night before their wedding or the morning of going, what am I going to do to feed the people that are here? That's a horrible feeling. And so I just am like, I'm going to put that out there. I just had a girl at work get married and I was like, hey, I don't remember to do that. And I know that we're heading into wedding season. And so just make sure, if you know a bride, tag them in this video so that they remember, or just tell them hey, don't forget to put something on there for people to eat the day of your wedding. It's so important. All right, you guys, I am going to hop off of here. If you are watching me live, you should be liking and following us on Facebook. If Facebook's not your jam and you're on other social media, we are on other social media too. Facebook is the only one that we're at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other social media is at Perfectly Pastry. If you're ever wondering, why is there a difference? Go back to a year ago and watch some of those lives. I tell you about it all the time. It was a total mess up on my part. What can I say? It's just how it happens. If you guys didn't know, we also have a YouTube channel and we have a podcast on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you are interested. I actually just found out, okay, so if you're a business owner, listen up. If you're not, this is actually still cool. So I just found out that you can link your podcast to your Facebook page. So I don't know about a personal page because I didn't look at my personal page because I don't have a personal podcast. I have a business podcast, but on our business page, I was able to automatically link our podcast. My mind was blown. I've had a podcast. I think I'm on episode, I think we're in the 90s now, episode 90 something, right? And so I've been doing it for a while and I had absolutely no idea that I could connect it. I was listening to a podcast this past weekend called the Social Media Examiner, I think, or maybe they're the people who do it. I don't know. It's the same podcast. Anyways, I was listening to that and I got the idea about how I should be using a hook when I start my Facebook Lives. But I also found out that I could link my podcast. So if you didn't know that, there's your tip. There's your business tip for the day. I know. Bring those business tips in. I cannot help myself. I was really excited. So if you have a business Facebook page, connect your podcast if you have it. All right. Okay, you guys, I'm going to really hop off this time. All right. I will talk to you guys again next week. Remember to make sure that you look into Amazon Smile. So that was, I'm going to put it back up here. Look at me, smile.amazon.com.
All right, you guys, I will talk to you again next week. See ya.